The views expressed on this episode of the Came to Believe Recovery podcast do not necessarily reflect those of KHLT, Take 12 Recovery Radio, or our affiliates. The opinions on this episode should not be taken as medical, psychological, or professional advice and are those of the host, co-host, and guests. KHLT and Take 12 Recovery Radio are not affiliated with any particular 12-step fellowship. Well, greetings, my friends. I am the Monty Man from Take 12 Recovery Radio, and this is the Came to Believe Recovery Podcast. And now, here are your Came to Believe Recovery podcasting broadcasters to launch us forth on this week's show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Came to Believe Recovery Podcast. You are here with myself, Alicia, and also Tom and Monty. And, a gnome with a cute hat.
This is Henry.
Henry?
Henry, yeah.
He's kind of Christmassy, maybe.
Yeah, he's kind of a hippie. You know?
Yes, he is.
He's a beanbag gnome. I don't like beanbag gnomes that much, but he's kind of cool.
He's kind of cute.
I can just kind of set him right.
Oh, look at his hair, long braids.
No, it's long. Yeah.
Look at Tom's
And
face.
you can't see his eyes. It's not because his hat is over his eyes. It's because he's a little stoned. He's a stoned gnome. Sorry.
Oh, he needs recovery.
He's misbehaving. Yeah. He could do 12 steps, but he doesn't have any feet, so he doesn't have any.
Oh.
Bye, Henry. Say bye.
Bye-bye, Henry.
What's wrong, Tom?
I'm just waiting for it to all end. Keep quiet. It'll end.
Well, before we get into what is the topic, by the way, Alicia?
Finding higher power, God in gratitude.
Celebrating
November's gratitude month.
Old month of gratitude and stuff. I forgot to put up some of the memes that Renee had sent last week, so I'll do that periodically throughout the show. So if one pops up while we're talking, that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of sticking them up there. I don't want to thank her for creating those. So in keeping with this whole month of gratitude, this November, the topic, finding a higher power or God in gratitude. But because we don't have a mailbag this week, nobody sent us any mail.
Oh, wow.
But there's still time. If you'd like to send mail so we can read it next week, send it to monty@cametobelieverecovery.org. But I thought we'd just do this. Let's see. Bum, 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 bum. Aha. Here we go.
Hey there, friends. Gather round. It's Monty the Man with stories profound. We're diving into tales, both wild and bold. Time to play true or false. Let the fun unfold.
True or false?
True or false? It's everybody's podcasting game show where you get to decide whether the story I read to you now is fact or fabricated. Aren't you excited, Tom? Look at him.
I am excited.
He's just excited. Okay. Yeah. So here we go. The Jenkins family Thanksgiving had been running late for reasons no one quite understood. The turkey, an enormous 24-pounder, had been in the oven since before sunrise. Yet, by noon, it still looked suspiciously pale, as if it were refusing to cooperate. Maybe the oven's broken, Aunt Linda suggested, tapping the glass with a fork like she expected the bird to answer. It's not broken, Dad said. I checked twice. The truth came out only when Grandma Jenkins, who had been quietly knitting in the corner, set down her needles, approached the oven, and whispered something through the glass. No one caught the words, but everyone saw what happened next. it seemed like the turkey moved. Not much, just the tiniest shift, but enough that the entire family collectively gasped. The oven light flickered. The bird gave what could only be described as a resigned sigh, then finally began to brown, as if agreeing to cook at last. Grandma turned back to the stunned family. "Well," she said, dusting off her hands, "you can't expect a turkey raised on my sister's farm to go quietly without a little negotiation." Naturally, everyone demanded an explanation, but Grandma just smiled, and the secretive smile she reserved for tax season and bingo triumphs. "Some things," she said, "you're better off not knowing." And so they ate the turkey, perfectly moist, unusually tender, and somehow seasoned with a hint of apology. It was the best Thanksgiving meal the Jenkins family had ever had. To this day, no one knows what Grandma whispered. But every year since, when the turkey goes into the oven, someone invariably asks, "Should we call Grandma?" So think about this for a minute. So I thought about this before I discovered whether this story was fact or fabricated. Have you ever seen a turkey in the oven, or even anything like that, like a Cornish game hen or a roast or something, and the steam builds up in it, and it kind of goes,
Yes.
so that's what I'm thinking, right? And that Grandma, she's just a little eccentric, and she likes to have fun with the family. So what do you guys think? You think that story is true or false?
I would say false.
Yeah, I don't think that's true.
You don't think it's true?
Just a story.
Why would you say that?
It's just my feeling.
Just,
Just feeling.
You just said so.
he's not into this at all.
I
Look
just
at
don't
him.
think it's true. I thought we were going to get like really good true or false. You got it?
Wow. I worked tirelessly.
To find a story that was
Make that
maybe
up.
true.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
here's the story with it. It's still a story no matter what. We don't know the answer. So even if you say that is a true story somebody told, it still could be not true. It just nothing. It just cooked. It doesn't have anything to do with anything.
Don't you trust me, Tom?
Maybe Monty knows this lady.
But he wasn't there. See, we're going to put him
Maybe
on
he
the
was
stand now.
there.
Were you there?
It was his
Did you see it?
grandma.
Right?
Look at his face. Maybe.
Oh,
maybe.
He's not a Jenkins.
All right. The story is false. You guys are correct.
Yes.
Yes.
Into that. And it was
but I will
Magnum
tell you-
PI was our music.
Magnum PI was me. Yes, you got that right. Yeah. Did you know that, Alicia?
No.
Magnum PI?
No.
Yes. Well, there you go. All right. Let me see. What am I going to do this? And into the circular file it goes. And that does it for true or false for this week.
True or false, let's take a chance. Dive into the stories, let your instincts dance. Fiction or fact, just guess what you see. Step right up now.
And play with me. I should have been a rock and roll star.
Yeah. Should we do a little praise report from the Malibu retreat?
Yes, we
yes,
should.
please do. Well, tell everybody that may be tuning in for the first time what that is.
So we returned from the Malibu retreat. I did last night, which was one of the Came to Believe Recovery 12-step retreat weekends. This is what we do. We present the steps over a weekend, very much just like the founders did it, a very short period of time. We take everybody through the steps, which really teaches them a process of working 10, 11, and 12. It's historically backed by AA history and lots of empirical evidence. So, and we have it from the horse's mouth. So that's what we did. We were up in Malibu in a place called the Sarah Center, which is a Franciscan retreat center up on the hill in Malibu. And it rained all weekend. We are usually looking forward to a beautiful, sunny Malibu weekend. And the river, atmospheric river, was flowing. I mean, it poured for 3 days straight and never stopped. Kept everybody inside. So there were 70 attendees there, and about 60 of them were first-timers. So this is what we want. We want the first-timers coming from various recovery groups and halfway houses and transitional living places and just recovery groups, all from the San Fernando Valley. And we got to our Came to Believe part of the program, and that's at the end when we allow everybody to come up and tell us what happened to them over the weekend. Like, how did they find the weekend? It's one of our, as the leader's, favorite part. And it lets us know. And to a person almost, they talked about a freedom that they have been looking for, and that the recovery programs they were in seemed to just miss the mark. Like, again, it was the old, why didn't anybody ever tell us this?
Yeah.
This process, we could have all been on this process, working our 10, 11, and 12, but nobody told us
Right.
how to do this. And we've been stumbling through programs for 6 months, 9 months, or a year, and not getting anywhere, really, right? And then nobody's telling us this. And so that was almost universal. And the other thing was we always debunk the myths in AA, and we read the book through the lens that we know that they meant it to be understood. Mm-hmm. And they are so amazed at the stuff like there's no 90 and 90 in the book. There's no meeting makers make it. None of that stuff is in there. And wait a year. I said, show me where it is. All of that.
Yeah.
Constantly amazed at how everybody really appreciated the fact that we showed them a bunch of stuff that they didn't know. And we saw 60 people walk out with a freedom that they had not had when they walked in. So it was wonderful.
Do you think that what is so common these days is for in the rooms of the 12 steppers, whether it's AA or NA or CR or whatever, that there's a lot of focus on scratching the surface, but no one ever gets deep enough into it to actually create true lasting change. But when you open up the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, for instance, and you read it through the lens of the founders, and you really know what you're doing, then you get the filet mignon of the meal, right? You really get the meat of what's going on. You're not just eating salad.
They skim the surface. You go to these meetings and just keep coming back, and meeting makers make it, and they, touch kind of behavioral stuff and how to manage your behavior and how to manage temptation and don't go with your girlfriend. This kind of surfacey non-recovery stuff is what happens in meetings. Yeah. And it's sad because that's not the program. It's not what leads to freedom, right?
Right.
That we know the founders were practicing.
And the thing that's so great about Came to Believe that I appreciate so much is that if you sit in many meetings today and you hear at the end of the meeting, keep coming back, it works, and then some poor guy says, well, what works? And then somebody says, well, doing the steps. Well, somebody showed me how. And then everybody looks at him like, no.
Right. I had never heard before Tom said it that in the 12 step how it says the spiritual awakening is the result. I never was shown that before.
Right.
And you need to do the steps, which I think people are just assuming that they're going to do them, but they don't. And no, I don't know, like the meeting, there's so many people just keep going to meetings, and that's not, that's
They're
fine
waiting.
for community, but you need to do the steps.
Some of these poor folks are waiting for somebody to sponsor them, and nobody's stepping up to the plate. And so when you have an organization like Came to Believe that is hitting the reset button on the original program, they're stepping up to the plate. This is a team of people, listeners, CameToBelieveRecovery.org. I don't say that lightly. Go there. Of folks that have hit the reset button and said, let's take you through the steps so you can have this spiritual awakening.
Well, I think too, to be on the other side, the people that are coming in don't exactly want to do them yet. They don't understand. So it goes both ways. It's them not
Sure.
asking us to sponsor
Sure.
them. And is it really our job to ask? I guess it is. We can put it out there, but it's their responsibility to ask.
Well, we back in the day, these folks like Clarence and Bob and all these other guys, even Frank Parkhurst, they would make the approach to the new guy. They made the approach. Hey,
Yeah.
how you doing? You think you might have a problem? Yeah, okay, come on.
Let's go through the steps.
Right. And if you walked into the room because you heard about it, they assumed you wanted what they had. And so they would only tell you what they knew to tell you, which is this is what we did if you want
Right.
what we had. You don't have to do it. People didn't do it back then. We know that.
Right.
People, they didn't get everybody.
Sure.
So
Sure.
it's amazing the focus on meetings. I'm often asked, hi, you go to meetings? How many do you go to? I'm like,
None.
what? Well, why don't you ask me, am I working my 10, 11, and 12? You know, it's like the wrong question.
But
Yes.
they don't know.
Thi-
They don't
thinking
even
that
know
it's
that.
the meetings aren't what keep me sober or ensure my sobriety. Yes, meetings are the fellowship and they're good to give back and it's all of that. But that's not what I rely on.
No.
It's just like Alicia will give me a hard time about this. You go to church? You go to church? Well, why? Why are you asking that? Because if I don't go to church, I'm not okay? I mean, what about did you repent and follow, again, did you do your 10, 11, and 12 every day? How's your connection with God today? Did you, live
Are you in His Word? What's your prayer
In His
life
Word
like? Are
tonight,
you being
yeah.
obedient to what
well,
God's
that's a better
directing you?
question.
Yeah.
And then
And
oh,
go to church and
and
be in
did you
community.
Did you fellowship with a like-minded community? Yeah, I went this weekend, right? But it's not my Christian walk is not dependent on me going to church. It just isn't. Same with our recovery. It's not dependent on us going to meetings all the time. The book
Yeah,
doesn't even
because
tell
if
you
you're
to
meeting
do it.
dependent, you're not God dependent. If you're
Yeah.
church dependent, you're not God dependent.
Right,
You
yeah.
got to be God dependent first. Then all that other stuff. There it is. Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these other things will be added unto you.
There you go.
Right. First things first.
Right.
First.
But it's the heart posture underneath, like we talk about a lot, because people in church could not be seeking God. And then people
Yeah.
outside of church could have a better relationship with Jesus than half of the church members.
Well,
so
that's
it's
our world.
the heart posture of the
Yeah.
person.
We teach people a lifestyle, a way of living that isn't in the church. And the churches aren't as good at that. How many pastors have said we should teach this right in our churches, what you guys do?
Right.
Yeah. Good luck
And
with
they
that.
don't. I go to I went to one 2 weeks ago. It was a nice lesson. It was all right. It was fine. Nothing wrong with it. But it didn't, if I was a brand new Christian, it didn't lead me to salvation. It didn't generally give me anything particular to work my life with. It was like a nice teaching.
Yeah,
It was
Tony
okay.
Robbins.
Yeah, it was all right. But I'm
Tony
like,
Robbins.
yeah, I said it was good, but I didn't need to come here to hear that. But it was all right. Maybe somebody did, right? I don't know.
Sure.
And then when they ask if you want prayer, if you want this, come forward to our prayer team and play the music. And the whole atmosphere is that your problem, you have to come to this prayer team today up front, and we're going to get rid of it for you. It's a
Well, that's an assumption. They're just
it's a
putting it
terrible,
out
if
there.
if you were there and listened to them, it's totally a terrible. I hate that. I do, because I'm like, they can get this. They don't have to come to you up front. You don't have a special prayer thing here at the church at the front that has it. And you say they're not saying they are. I watch people go up and I got to go for prayer. I got to go to church and get prayer. I'm like, well, I'll pray for you right now. Well, I got to be in church. Why? Really? Yeah. All right, we're going down the wrong path.
Gratitude.
But we got to go for gratitude and God.
Okay, so the
Recognizing
topic
God
is,
every day.
the topic is
Not just
finding
the
God, finding a higher power, finding the Creator in gratitude. Talking points. You got three main ones here: learning to recognize God in everyday moments, thanking God even in difficulty, and humility, self-will to God's will. So let's talk about the first one, learning to recognize God in everyday moments. With the, right, especially with the, I don't know that this is anything new. It's been going on since man has been alive, right? But just for the sake of it, with the political flavor that's going on these days, the way that the wave is moving, it can be difficult to find a loving creator in the midst of all the fighting and fussing and character assassination and blah, 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 blah. Right? It can be difficult.
Finding the what?
Finding God, a loving creator, in the midst of all this baloney.
Yeah. Well, it just causes division, right? It's more division, and we're picking sides rather than being loving and seeing different ways of looking at certain things, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think, Tom?
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's. Here we got free will. We were talking about this before. Decisions and choices, and the things that we decide to lay our hearts on. Our treasure, our heart is some position that is going to affect our lives. It comes down to our comfort and peace and lack of agitation, right? I mean, it's all about lower our taxes and, make sure that there's nobody that's not supposed to be there sucking up the benefits I'm supposed to have, and keep other countries from coming. I mean, there's some things that you can get whipped up into all of that, and we should be giving all the people feed. And if somebody's hungry, feed them. Why shouldn't we feed them?
But these things all become distractions, right? They keep us away from the main point being the main point.
Right. And then should we legislate about it? And should we, and then it becomes, discriminatory, and who is it? And then we become judge and jury. Not we. I mean, we're not doing it, the three of us, but somebody is. Right. And it's distracting. It's hard to, you go back to what would Jesus do right? And he simply would feed everybody.
He'd work out the details after the meal.
Yeah. I mean, he just didn't concern himself with that kind of thing. He concerned himself with humanity and your salvation and your ability to worship him. He didn't have issues with any of that stuff. Never heard a political speech out of him. Whether they were Sumerians or Judah, he went everywhere, talked to everybody.
Sadly,
mixed groups at the same time.
Yeah, people think that our world's chaos can be fixed with political power or more education, and obviously it's not, right? We all are evil, and each person needs to look at their inside, and if we all were working on ourselves and living the principles, that is the leading, right?
So,
that's what we need to do, but nobody's going to listen to that.
I mean, if everybody took the inventory sheet we have, 4-step inventory, and looked at the left side and looked at the right side, and made every decision that would point to a character or a principle that is espoused in the right side,
the world would be a different place.
It'd be a lot different, right?
We would have an attitude of gratitude, and when you live in that attitude of gratitude, it is very difficult, if not impossible, to carry a resentment for very long at all.
Right.
And if you're not walking around resentful all the time, you put down the sword, right? If you're going to cut the Roman's ear off, Jesus is just going to put it back on anyway. Put the sword down, for crying out loud. Do we need to have a responsibility to defend certain things and protect our kids? Yeah, you betcha. But we've lost the ability many times to be grateful. I mean, I sit back and I will, back when you could televise the House of Representatives, remember back in the day, there was a channel, and you
Yeah.
could just watch them, right? And a Republican would stand up and make a point, and you'd go, that makes sense. And then a Democrat would stand up, make a point, and you go, well, that makes sense. And back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And the one thing that I never saw was anybody say how grateful they were that they were sucking air.
Yeah, right.
No gratitude whatsoever. Just, I'm here for the fight, man. You know, and yeah, so finding God in everyday moments, we got to look past the everyday moments, don't we? Because they're just a distraction to us.
Yeah, I think, we say this at the retreat, step 7 really works. So, and that step 3 really works. And if we're Christian on this podcast, guys, and we're not a church program, a recovery program, but we identify as Christians. I do, and I don't even like that term. A follower of Jesus. All right,
Christ followers, yeah.
a Christ follower. And so that the Bible is the word of God and gives us instruction. We have a roadmap of how to treat people and how to act. I think that we still, and I do it too, we all still want our own, we have our own, there's some ownership we have to take, and we misguide it with, I have my walking steps and what God does. And it's separate, right? So you get up and you do some God stuff in the morning, and then you go off and live your life. But then it's just making my own decisions, and that without taking God with you to say, okay, now stay with me in all these decisions all day long. Like he can. And I think some of us just don't walk in the power we have.
Or
You
they
don't
don't
really
want
believe
to
it.
take. They
Yeah.
don't want to take them to this point and this point and this point in
Part
life.
of it is that some of that you think is not going to be fun. Right. And it's going to
Yeah.
take my fun away. Maybe, maybe. But I think a lot of people don't understand what they have with the Holy Spirit living in you if you are a Spirit-filled Christian. They just don't understand the power. And we all suffer because of it. Because we don't.
Yeah.
I think the Bible even says it. You don't know what you have. If you knew what you had, you'd.
Yeah,
Yes.
but then in the mix of all that, we're surrounded by people that do not believe. So there's
At
that.
all. Right.
Well,
So-
and the truth of the matter is, the sad truth of the matter is, it is, and the Bible talks about it, this whole path, it isn't going to be followed by many.
narrow
The path
path.
is narrow. And the majority of people are going to be are lost and are going to remain lost. That's just biblical. There's going to be a handful of folks, and it's a big handful, comparatively speaking. I mean, when we think about it, right? But it's way smaller than what I'm sure even the Lord would prefer. I mean, he is willing that no one should perish. But
And
unfortunately,
so many people think they're on this narrow path.
yeah, they do.
And then Jesus is going to say, I don't know you.
Yeah, you know, but I think all this stuff, people that I've worked with over the years in the 12-step world, there are people that just, even in the midst of their pain, they just have this gratitude, this overwhelming gratitude. Even people that can't seem to get a handle on the every 30-day relapse cycle, that just love the Lord, and they weep because of their circumstance, and yet they're some of the most kindest, giving, grateful people out there, even in the midst of their mess.
What do you think is there's no answer here, but Monty, what is like the root of that? Either of you, actually. Like, they're loving Jesus. They know the steps, and they keep relapsing.
I think part of it, and I'm not going to say and this isn't as an excuse, but it may be a reason. Part of it may be some of the damage that's been done, particularly with the chemicals we're dealing with today, may have some unreversible
Brain
damage.
stuff. I thought
Right.
you were going to say trauma from childhood.
Yeah, and that too. But I mean, if you put it all together,
Yeah.
in one big bundle, there may be a whole lot of different stuff going on.
But still, it is possible, I believe.
Oh yeah,
If-
we've seen
right?
some people that you would vote that they'll be dead tomorrow, and then they're not, and they're living amazing lives. I mean,
Yeah.
but none of it is possible without the power of God intervening. Unless God does something in the heart of a man will not change.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
in the heart of it, they have not been transformed, Alicia. That's what they'd say. They
And
aren't
do you
spirit-filled.
think
They
that's-
said the words, but their heart wasn't true, and so they're still struggling. They say all the right things. It's the whole thing Jesus will say, you said everything right, but I didn't know you.
Well, here's the
If
other
they're
hard
not
thing.
making every effort, or
Yeah, I
is it
don't-
God's choice? Maybe. I mean, there's no answer, but maybe their
don't know.
struggle is going to be a witness to other people that God's using that
Maybe
for some reason.
Maybe. But here's the other part. There's an enemy of our soul,
Yes,
right?
but our higher power is higher than that power.
I know, but he's very real, right?
He's deceptive
And if he can get people to see, not to be distracted by all this everyday stuff, and really believe that, well, you'd use too if you knew my circumstance, and really believe that lie,
yeah.
then he will. And so those of us who believe in prayer need to be intervening for these folks. There's a Billy Joel song. It always got to me. It's the one about the Catholic girls. They've,
I don't know that one.
well, he says, I think it's only the good die young. And
I do know that.
in the song, he says, your parents, they never liked me or whatever, but did they ever say a prayer for me? That's a really good question. What are we doing? Those of us who have recovered, those of us who've been delivered, those of us who live in a spiritual awakening, what is our prayer life? How are we intervening for these poor souls that just can't seem to get their hand on the door that only responds to their touch, as in the poem that Tom so beautifully recites at every retreat called I Stand at the Door. What are we doing? Are we standing at the door? Many of us are not.
Well, and there's just so much there that can't be answered, right? Like, are they making every effort? Is their brain damage or
Sure.
something? Is the lower power in? And then if it's our sponsees, we are also being transformed through that process of sticking by and having patience and praying it through. And maybe there's another avenue I can take my sponsee on. I'm kind of in that spot right now. It's like, I don't know what else to do rather than do it for you or have you move into me with me or something. But I can't.
Well, that's why we have to be close to the heart of God on a regular basis, because he's entrusting us with these souls.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
And for us to have gratitude for that, like, wow, I'm in a deep relationship with some of these girls right now and see that as a gift rather than a burden or an annoyance or something.
Yeah. Can we talk
it's
about
annoying, Alicia. You know it is.
Well, I get annoyed and then I'm frustrated and I'm like, I want them to be better. But I was there too for 33 years, so I get it. I just want them to be done now.
Why? But recognizing God's leading, little pivot in. We talk about it at retreats. I think I talked about it in the 4-step negative thinking. Why is the human tendency to leave your house and laserly focus on everything that goes wrong?
Yes. Traffic or whatever.
That
and
guy's an idiot. Why is they don't know how to drive? I can't get it. It's
something that somebody said to us yesterday and we're still thinking about it.
impatient. I mean, and we just walk those old tapes out. Like, our nature has been, we're not by nature judgmental, but we judge all the time.
Well, that's
And
what
do it.
step 10 is about, right?
So,
But we need to
yeah.
keep it.
So that's where that 4 absolutes come in: honest and selfish. Just keep it right on the top of your head, and you grasp that thought. What do they say? Take the thought captive. And wait a minute, that person, how do I know what's going on in their life today that they're doing that, right? I mean, change it with, how do I know? And what good can I see out of something? It's a beautiful day. And what am I going to, I mean, we can totally pivot.
Turn it to gratitude
Yeah,
somehow.
gratitude. And it's always better if we do, right? Gratitude never weighs you down.
No,
Never.
it doesn't.
Yep.
It doesn't. Even in the midst of difficulty. So talking point number 2, thanking God even in difficulty, purpose in pain, suffering leads to perseverance. I love this. So let me just say, and I'll probably get some flack for this, but I'm going to say it. Now this is my opinion,
Okay, go for it.
okay? If you're sitting at the feet of a mentor, pastor, teacher, spiritual advisor, whatever, that is teaching you that God never intends for you to have hardship, you need to stop listening to that person.
You need to run.
You need to run away.
Yeah.
And so just two of my favorite scripture verses. This is in James 1. Consider it pure joy. Pure joy. What's pure joy? The joy of the Lord. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever, not if ever,
Whenever.
you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, lacking in nothing. So you want to be lacking in nothing, wise guy? Then you need to let perseverance finish its work. And that means that trial you're going through is absolutely necessary and may be directly of God. The other one is Romans 5, 3 through 4. Not only that, but we also rejoice in our sufferings because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance, character, and character, hope. What do you mean? You mean God wants us to rejoice in suffering? Does God want us to suffer?
Right.
I know one thing. He wants us to rejoice in it.
Yep. And that's hard. I mean, that's easy for us to say right now because we're probably, I'm assuming, relatively in a happy space.
Right?
But when suffering comes and trials come, that's where it's like, oh. And it's not saying, we're not saying, oh, thank the Lord for cancer or whatever. But it's like having joy in the situation, not for the situation.
Again,
Right,
when I see past the distraction.
What
Right.
can I learn here? And people say, why me? Why me? And we can say, well, why not me? We were never promised
Right.
perfect life, and circumstances come, but it's hard to say that when you're in the situation.
Well, and the Lord knows that. That's why he gave us. That's why we have these scripture verses. You know. Okay, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters. Okay, he's addressing people that are going through some stuff.
Even the thorn in the side. We don't know what that was with Paul, but he didn't heal him of it. Whatever it was. He said, my
Right.
grace is good enough for you. I want you to understand that you need me. So, and he didn't do it to him, but he let it
He let it stay or
let it
remain.
stay. We put too much emphasis on it. We put too much emphasis on it being defining to us when we're in trouble, and it'll divert us, right? It's a distraction. I mean, came to believe for 5 years. I didn't know how we were going to keep going day after day for 4 or 5 years. It was tough. Seemed like it was going under. I couldn't tell. But what a perfect mission we had.
Oh my gosh!
So perseverance. Like, how I remember sitting with like Steve Foreman and others. Are we doing something wrong? I mean, this is God's mission. We go to these retreats and people see it, but then why can't we get the breakthrough that we need? How is this? You know, how do we keep going? And we just kept going because we knew to keep going. Right?
Sometimes we're broken for the breakthrough.
Right.
You know what I mean? We feel like we're getting broke down. And when is the reprieve going to come? Like you were saying, you know, when do we get through? You know, well, maybe you're being broken for the breakthrough. Maybe that's all necessary
And teaching you patience and perseverance
Oh, you'll be lacking in nothing.
and I'm sure God, and I'm sure you, Tom, were drawing closer and closer and closer to God for it because you're like, what's going on? And so God is like, you're still running to Him, which is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
think even when things are bad, that's when we can still run to Him.
I just walked it
Deeper.
out. I said, this can't be a bad thing, this, delivering your message. So, all right, I'm just going to keep going. I mean, I'm going to, it was almost a challenge. All right, it's up to you there, Lord. You're going to have to, and when I look back, there was always just enough provision, if not, but whether there was a ton of provision or just enough, the same thing got done. You know what I mean? I mean, it got done. If we'd have had excess provision, would we've done it differently? I don't know. I mean, that's a loaded question. We could have done more. But
Yeah.
what we did was just as effective, but it was nearly breaking. Oh, I had people in my life, absolutely, of the world saying, you need to move on. You got to get out of that.
Yeah.
You got to quit. Forget about that. All the pointing fingers about,
Can you imagine if you did? We wouldn't be in Salvation Army, probably, and none of that
Oh,
would have
my
happened.
goodness.
well, back then it would have just folded.
Yeah.
I mean, it might have gone back to some, independent retreats might have done some things, but this whole thing would have just folded. But,
Perseverance.
but that's perseverance. I mean, it went on longer than I wanted it to go on. But now what do I learn? I don't really worry about nothing now. We're doing it right, but I got to stay obedient, right? You got to keep going.
Right.
And not worry about it. But
It doesn't mean it doesn't cause concern. It doesn't.
right.
We're not
And you got to
tempted
plan and you got to do things, no
Yeah.
doubt. Yeah.
Yeah,
keep
we don't just
praying,
sit
right,
back
right.
and do nothing and let
So
God
if we're
do it all.
burdened by something, are we not maybe we're called to pray about it instead of worry about it? Maybe that's the nudge. Okay, I'm going to burden you with this, so you will commit it under prayer. I'm not, but I'm going. No, I'm supposed to worry. That's how I'm supposed to do.
Well,
it.
that's
Don't worry about it.
interesting that you said that, Monty. He never commissions us to worry.
Right.
Right.
We're not.
Right.
He says, "Don't worry, no matter what." We should
Not be anxious for
but
anything.
That's hard, right?
Yeah.
When you can't see it in the world and it looks bad on paper, kind of thing. And then he says, "Well, don't worry about it." Well, what do you mean? How-
I hate it when my son. I'll say, "Hey, Colin, what about this thing or that thing?" He'll go, "Don't worry about it, Dad." I go, "Well, I'm not worried about it. I'm just curious about it." Don't worry about it.
It's none of your business, Dad.
That's
saying
what he's
butt
saying.
out.
He's saying,
He's saying butt out,
I'm not telling
Dad.
you, just get out, just butt out of it. Right?
But out, Dad.
Humility, self-will to God's will. Ooh.
What does this actually look like practically? I put down. So learning humility, I think I feel it's an ongoing process, ongoing transformation of turning my will over. And then learning like how Tom teaches step 11 of red light, green light, God's prompting. What is his will? Do we even know what his will is? And like get in the word or ask other people or, kind of do our side of the work of finding out how do we know if it's God's will or not?
I always get annoyed a little bit with people saying, "Well, I'll wake up tomorrow, God willing," and I'm like, "Oh, I think He's willing that you wake up tomorrow." Why would you say that? It's just like a statement, God willing, we'll be here tomorrow. Well, I think He's willing. What are you doing about it? But yeah, what is the will? I mean, I think the red light, green, growing in conscious contact. That's how we learn. Transformed by the renewing of our minds so we know what good and pleasing to God. I mean, it's a process.
Right? It's all 11 sought through
Yeah.
prayer and meditation to improve. We all need to improve.
Yes.
Keep going, keep learning, keep
But
praying
it's
for
conscious
wisdom.
contact, constant. It's not, I do my God here, and then I Okay.
Go to
I'll
work.
come back to you later, and then I'll go do my life thing here without him.
Yeah. Pray without ceasing, right?
You know,
Bring
I was-
him with you.
I was thinking about, so I was sitting in church, and some things were going through my mind that just weren't exactly very healthy, to tell you the truth. And I recognized them. I'm thinking, ooh, this is a distraction. And I wasn't conjuring it up. And I'm like, okay, I recognize this. I see where this is coming from. And and I'm not, the devil made me do it. But the truth of the matter was the enemy of my soul was trying to get my mind going somewhere else. Right. And I recognize it. And I had to address it immediately in my heart. Immediately. I was like inside, and nobody knew, but inside I'm like, no, not doing that, not going there. No, this is where my focus is going to shift. I'm doing this now. Sorry, devil.
Right.
Not the devil
See,
himself,
that's a
but it was a
perfect
demonic
example.
influence.
That's you doing step 10. Boom,
Yeah,
right there.
boom,
Yeah.
right now,
Yeah.
now. Because I knew that if I entertained that thought of distraction,
It just festers, right?
it was just going to get bigger, right? And then I'd be frustrated and I'd beat myself up and blah 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 blah. And this is all going on in church. So if you don't think the devil goes to church, you're sadly mistaken. He
Right?
does, and certainly, and not Satan himself. He can't be in more than one place, but the demonic influences of this world. The Bible says we don't fight against flesh and blood, but the principalities of this dark age, right? So there's these influences that are going on, and if I don't stop, one thing I've learned in 12-step recovery that if I don't call myself under submission of God immediately when I'm being attacked like that, I'm not going to make it. I mean, I might not die, but you know what I mean.
Right. Well, that's our negative thoughts, right? Or whatever the defect of character is. It's also flesh against the spirit, which is an ongoing process and transformation for us. And to recognize that, and your example of your awareness, people need the awareness that
Yeah.
our thoughts can go boom, boom, and who knows where. And we need
sometimes
to
it's
watch
not-
them.
Sometimes I'm just hungry.
Yes,
Sometimes I'm just tired.
That's a great point. Am I hungry?
Right.
Why am I so annoyed? Ask yourself and answer the questions.
Yeah.
Why am I so mad right now? Why am I bitter? I need to go to bed or whatever. I need to eat. Maybe you're hungry. Maybe it's not the lower power. Maybe you're just hungry.
Let me just.
These days, I can always draw it back to something I did or didn't do. When I'm
Yeah.
annoyed
Yes.
or cranky it's always, I could have fixed this. I knew better, and I didn't do it.
Yes.
In most
and we
cases.
need to have humility and honesty about
Yeah,
that.
it wasn't the devil.
And don't
prompted me.
blame
Right,
anything
right.
else.
Good
when
old Tom
you're-
being a dummy.
Being
Right.
a dummy.
Made a choice.
Right.
And
Are
a
we
decision.
making every effort
Yeah,
and then blaming the Holy Spirit for not working in my life? Please.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
So people ask me, because I'll say, I know what God's will for my life is. I go, how do you know that? I go, well, I'm not talking about, God, do you want me to turn left or right as I'm fighting traffic today and I'm trying to get a faster route to get to my destination? Should I go down this street or that street? I'm praying, God, show me. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about ultimately, whatever I say in word and deed, God's will is that it points to him. Bottom line, that's his perfect will, that whatever I say in word and deed points to him.
Yes.
So when I stop and I say, wow, did the way I just responded to so-and-so's irritating behavior, did that point to Jesus? Mm-hmm. Not so much.
Well, that's when you do step 10 and you make
Right,
an amends
right.
and boom, it's fine.
Is it right side or left?
Yeah.
So if I'm leaving the house with the intention, and we have to be in, there's that word that got a lot of popularity a few years ago, intentional, but it's true. If I'm intentional about what I'm about to do, Will my behavior point to him or will it point to my selfish and self-centeredness? It's a choice today. I do have the power. I am no longer powerless because I've had a spiritual awakening as a result of the solution, God, right? And so it's intentional. I have to be intentional about it. And that sometimes takes this word, discipline.
I love it. And I love intentional. I love them all.
Do we though? I don't
Yes,
love them sometimes.
you do.
Because this may mean I may need to get up a little earlier to get my spiritual alignment right? If I'm grumpy at church because I haven't had my coffee, did I get up early enough to make my coffee, or did I choose to sleep in 10 more minutes? Because that can make a big difference right there.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot.
And on me. And so it's hard to find gratitude in that when everything's focused on me.
Right. But we could find gratitude in the fact that we can look and see, what can I switch it? I have the power to get up earlier. I have the power to stay connected or this and that. So we can be grateful for that.
Yeah.
And learn from the experience. Don't beat yourself up and keep going. And be an example to those around you, because then they can learn to do it too.
Do you guys think that this, okay, the term powerless, it's vitally important if somebody's brand new that they understand their powerlessness. You can't understand the solution unless you understand the problem. We get that. But at some point, do you think that there's too much focus on that? There's a recovery circuit speaker that talks a lot about powerless, powerless, powerless. I'm so sick and tired of people boasting how powerless they are when there is a power that can be your solution. Do you think it's overdone?
It's overdone.
Powerlessness.
We were powerless.
Yeah,
Whether I access the power is a different story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. I think it's overdone.
I do too. Yep.
So it comes down to, are you living in the solution or are you living in the problem? My dad used to say, son, are you part of the solution or part of the problem? Ask yourself. And if you're anything but part of the solution, you need to keep your mouth shut. It's like, oh,
Hate that.
I don't. In fact, if I look at it here, pull out my notes. Yeah, next Monday's show on the Take 12 Recovery Radio Show, the topic is keeping our mouth shut, particularly when we know we're right.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah.
Get it right rather than being right.
I like to be right.
But you need to get it
The
right.
three of us are always right?
Well,
Even
Well,
when
we don't have to voice
burden
it
we bear.
all the time.
it's the burden we bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even if we're wrong, we're right. So my son say, but Dad, you're wrong. I know. I'm right about being wrong. So therefore I'm right. That's right thinking, right?
Well, the joke about it, or the reality is, if you are truly living in the go and
Yeah.
you are got a 10-step faithful and you're connecting with a conscious contact with God, seeking for that renewal so that you know what's good and pleasing, and you've got your character state traits identified at which, and we know what our perfect character looks like, and you walk that, you are pretty much right most of the time in your life if you're quiet.
Yeah.
You make the right decisions, and you have it is a result. And that's what people see in us. They see, wow, you seem to have success. Well, what we know is when you don't know, you don't say anything. That's what's better,
Yeah.
and that's what's
That's
harder
wisdom.
is, to say, I don't know. But isn't that right? I don't really know. I don't have a comment about that today.
Yeah.
Someone would say, well, that was a good thing, rather than him giving me bad advice.
Right.
Just didn't know. But don't
Okay.
you find, and life is easier. You tend to have less struggle when you're living this way every day.
Yep. we cease fighting anything or anyone, that doesn't mean we don't take a stand on things. It just means that we don't have to bloody the mat. I mean, come on. All right, we're out of time. Closing thoughts. Alicia, you first.
Have gratitude, especially this week because Thanksgiving is coming, and work on your awareness muscle. Be aware. What thoughts are you letting fester in your mind? And just practice today, like stopping, pausing, and why am I mad? Why am I bitter? Why, look at the thoughts in your head and redirect them if you need to.
Tom?
Yep. Start with all the good things. Start with everything that's great in your day. Make a conscious effort to get up. Use the 4 absolutes if you have to, and watch your day get better. Start with all the good stuff. Shift your focus. Also, you got silly guys going to be like wearing turkey outfits next week, Tuesday or something?
No,
Are you going to be doing
not planned yet, but that's a good idea.
Well, maybe.
I think he will have a turkey gnome.
Because next week is our turkey episode.
Thanksgiving.
You never know. You just never know. If it drives Tom crazy, it's a good thing. All right, guys. Our closing song is called Grateful Heart. It's by After the Chase. And then as the song weeds out, or however you put it, wanes.
Yes, that's good. Waxes and wanes.
Yeah, as it goes out, I'll have my closing thoughts. And so here is After the Chase with Grateful Heart.
My heart once empty overflows. Your relentless mercy floods my soul. Love I can't contain, I'm saturated, and it makes me love you so. So I sing. My heart once wayward and alone. Here in your courtyard found a home. You became my father and my mother and the dearest friend I've ever known. So I sing my offering, my finest gifts, my very best I bring. No, my song could never show how good you are. When I sing to you, I sing from a grateful heart. My heart once broken lives again. Your blood is flowing through my veins. Oh, my sweet Redeemer, you will be my Lord forever and always. Yeah. So I sing my offering, my finest gifts, my very best I bring. No, my song
Well, finding God in gratitude begins with noticing the quiet, often overlooked gifts woven into everyday life. When we pause long enough to appreciate the warmth of sunlight, the steadiness of a friend's support, or the simple grace of breath itself, our awareness shifts from scarcity to abundance. Gratitude opens our eyes to the subtle ways in which the sacred moves through the ordinary. In this softened awareness, God is no longer a distant concept, but a presence revealed in the details we too often rush past. As gratitude becomes a practice rather than a fleeting feeling, it transforms the way we understand ourselves and each other. Each moment of thankfulness becomes a small act of remembrance, a way of saying, I recognize the goodness that holds me. In these moments, God appears not only in the blessings we celebrate, but also in the resilience that carries us through hardship. Gratitude becomes a doorway to deeper trust, reminding us that we are accompanied, guided, and sustained by a love larger than our circumstances. It's something to think about. Came to Believe Recovery strives to create and promote opportunities for life-changing spiritual experiences for individuals and families suffering from all forms of addiction. For more information, help, and support, visit cametobelieverecovery.org. I'd like to thank you for allowing me to be your host on this episode of the Came to Believe Recovery podcast. And I would encourage you to like, bookmark, and subscribe to this show. When you do, you will join the Take 12 Recovery Radio family and will be notified of all of our recovery-focused shows throughout the week. Until our next broadcast, when we provide the essential spiritual tools needed to thrive by sharing our experience, our strength, and our hope through our stories of how we came to believe.
This has been a production of Take 12 Recovery Radio.
Yeah, kitty, kitty, kitty. Meow.
Woof, woof.
This has been a Chicken and a Pig production.